Welcome to another Haze Program. On this edition, we are speaking with Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, the Honorable Minister Garrido Lowe. And Minister, we thank you for your time. We know that the improvement or the development of the hinterland population is high on government's agenda. Coming into office, what was your overall arcing objective or goal that you set to take the ministry forward to properly help the indigenous peoples?
Well, coming in, yes. The vision was to help the indigenous people to create their own village economies, to generate income for themselves, because we have 212 indigenous villages, and most of them are poor, rich and poor. Rich in the sense that you have such beauty, like in Region 8, you have the beautiful Pakaranga Mountains. You have lovely creeks going along the way there. It's beautiful. A great tourist attraction. But our people, they have to be helped, they have to be taught how to use their resources for their benefit. So that was my vision from the first, and that's the vision I'm working on.
I understand, Minister. Thank you, Minister. In creating this economic development, how important is organization, community organization?
It is very, very important, because just out of elections, after the previous government, almost 23 years, you found that the indigenous people, many of them were still somehow in an election mode, because our elections were we fought to be here, and we're here fair and square, but the indigenous community, and I would say through this ministry, was controlled to an extent. So many of them, all they knew was the PDP government and what they wished them to do, or what policies they set out for them, and that is it. Many of them, not all, but very many. Because you have to remember that the hinterland is a remote area, and that is what indeed this government is trying to, we're trying to close the gap between hinterland and coastland. The information gap, the economic gap. Information, can you imagine? I was in Taruka, that's in Region 8, in December, and one resident got up and said, "Is it true, Minister, that Mr. Granger ran away and Mr. Donald back in office as president?" I was amazed. I thought he was joking, but when I looked at him carefully, he was not joking. I said, "Nothing like that. Where did you hear it from?" He said, "Well, he heard it coming on the way. It's all over the savannah and so on. People are saying it." I said, "Oh, I see." So you could imagine what happens with regards to lack of information. Remember, the newspapers, they don't have television, they don't have radio, most of them, except Radio 9 and Radio Primal, and recently Radio Let Them Know. But the information gap was so great. And indigenous people, they let's say, they need information. They cry out for information. You take a newspaper there, they will read it out, they will share it, they will put it up. This is their bit of information. So you can imagine if they don't get other information but one set of information, that would be gospel. So our government intend to close that gap. We intend to empower our indigenous people and give them the same opportunities, make the same opportunities available to them, just like on the coastal. I know Minister VP Alicop doesn't like to say we empower them because they're already empowered. So I will say we will empower them more.
That's right. That's right.
So that is what we're doing.
Understand, Minister. Thank you so much for that. I can only imagine that with limited information going into the communities, it meant that persons who represented the political party would have been, doing a number of stuff, but the bottom line was segregation within the community.
Yeah.
And that is not needed to go for us to go forward.
Right.
For us to truly see development in the hinterland or any other place, even in Guyana as a whole, we need that level of unity, more so in the indigenous community.
That is right. So when we went in there, we found some divisive communities, still politically inclined, so to speak. And I'm not saying that the previous government did everything wrong, but of course they did many good things themselves. They had almost 23 years. But I'm saying this bit of thinking, creating division, that's not good. That's not good at all. Not if you want a community to grow. Because you'd find one part trying to do something positive and the other part trying to wreck it for them. So with this new administration, uniting the people is like number one. So you would find us including everyone, even non-PPP members, into our meetings, listening to their opinions and things like that, because you have to do that if you want to build something. And that's the intention. We have to build these communities, and it has to start from the people. They have to want to see their communities grow into something that, something beautiful. For instance, they have to want to start a business that can generate income for the community. And this is where we need everyone to pool in their thoughts, their opinions, their resources, whether it is a little help here, cash or kind, whatever. So unity is very important within the indigenous community.
Indeed it is. Minister, you've already spent 1 year, 12 months in office. Would you be able to highlight some of the successes of your 12 months?
Well, let me see. At the risk of repeating what VP said, we had some we had many successes. For instance, we came in when the two-shows election should have been held. So that was delayed, but we managed to run that off. And so we have some new two-shows now. Added to that, the National Tusha Council, it became autonomous, so you wouldn't find the ministry interfering or trying to direct them. And they chose their leader themselves. So that's another plus. After that, we had the resource conference, so that went out without a hitch, the first ever. What else? With regards to sports and all those things, heritage, the heritage site was rebuilt when I went there the first time. Oh my gosh, it looked like it looked sad, very sad. Gate wide open, hanging, everything just abandoned. So that was very sad for me. So we decided to renovate. So that cost us 10 million to renovate it. But Colin Andrew from Maracaibo and his team, they did an excellent job. If you go into that building, you'll see how neatly those leaves are. And I went shopping myself with the lights to complement the whole. Because I'm not a minister that like to sit and receive reports. And as President said, we have to get out and be with the people. And I believe him. That is how I like to do my work.
That is important because it's not just about sitting in an office,
no,
making a decision, but it's about embracing the people.
Of course.
Meeting the people. That way, when you make a decision, you make an informed decision.
That is right.
That represents the wishes of the people. But it means that you will have a greater level of buy-in.
That is exactly it. Because reports can only tell you so much. Reports can also hide so much from you. Not always you would get a report giving you all the facts as they should be. So if you're a smart minister, you go out there and put your nose on the ground yourself.
That's right.
Come up with your answers and then take action.
That's so true. Over the next 12 months and even beyond, where do you see the ministry heading? Where do you see the development of the hinterland heading?
Well, as I said, the hinterland, economies for the hinterland has to be thought out carefully. You just can't go and build a skyscraper there and things like that, how you do in a city or a town. So you have to look at it carefully, taking into consideration the environment, the way of life for the people, and things like that. So that is why our ministry is seriously, our flagship plans then are ecotourism and agriculture, because we feel that is how the indigenous communities can retain their culture up to a level the environment would not be damaged so much and things like that. So that is the way we're going. Right now, but then that's coming on to Haze, so we'll come to that later on.
No problem.
But the successes, let's continue on its successes. I only named the heritage. You went there by the site?
We had a look at the site during Heritage Month.
Oh, and then
we were on ground and it was wonderful. The actual expression I would prefer to use is it restored a sense of pride.
Yes. I went there even in the night when the men were working. I had to take off my working shoe and walk barefoot all around, but there I was pointing out this and pointing out that, because the best of workers still like to know that you're interested in what they're doing.
That's right.
You know? Because if they have to leave and attend a meeting, their staff is left there.
Yeah.
If you don't show an interest in such projects and you leave it up to people entirely, maybe I'm a little wrong here, but I just like to go on and check on things, to let people know that, okay, I will be checking to see that everything is all right. It's not that I like to micromanage, but it's a long time now. Guyanese, I think, especially contractors and so on, they have developed a culture of not taking pride in their jobs. And I was happy. I could remember one woman over the river, she went on her veranda and fell down. The whole veranda fell off her home. And when she checked, it was umbrella, that little wire and so on. The person who did it mixed it up with all those things. He didn't put steel.
Wow.
So I have a little apprehension where buildings are concerned, especially. But I was happy that Mr. Colin was very, very dedicated, devoted, careful, and everything. He's a master builder.
That's
So
right.
next time I have a Benab, I'll ask him. Actually, the other project, big project, is the Yamanayana.
Yes.
Now we were hoping that it would be finished for Jubilee, but unfortunately we ran into some delays. But it will be finished soon, and Mr. Colin Andrews is in charge of that too. The YYs have finished their part. They went back, so it's just some, and Ministry of Infrastructure doing the floor, etc.
And so shortly, we will see the Umaniana coming on stream, being back in action.
Yes, the pride of our country. Not only the indigenous people, but of our country.
That's right.
Sometimes I rather think that almost all of us, every ethnic group sometimes, many of them have indigenous blood in them. Because we were the first people. And when the white people came, and then they brought the Africans, is that the indigenous people had to give them all sorts of advice, show them what to do. Of course, many things happen. So I'm sure,
That's true.
sure a lot of people have indigenous blood in them. And long ago, you know, people used to feel so ashamed to have indigenous blood in them. They deny it. But I'm so happy that now, you know, people claim their indigenous blood.
That's important.
I'm happy about that, and most of all for the indigenous people, for us, because that used to make us pull into ourselves and feel that feel inferior, and that should have never been.
That's quite true, Minister. Whilst we're still on your successes, do you have any more that you would like to share with us?
I was talking about sports. We introduced for the first time last year 3 of our athletes, swimmers, attended the games in Trinidad.
Yes.
That was
Game.
the swimming games. I forgot what you call it.
Commonwealth Games.
Not the Commonwealth.
The Americas or the Olympic soccer?
We'll find that name.
No
But
problem.
anyway, they went there and they represented us well. And the ministry sponsored one of them and gave some pocket piece to the others. But 2 of them were sponsored by 2 businesses that you know, were very happy to sponsor them. And one of them was I think it was McDucey. Yes, and the other one was, I forgot the man's name, but you know, it's very, very, you know, I'm happy that they came on board.
Indeed.
That sponsorship. And we also added to the sports for the heritage, we added archery. So we want to develop that. We're working with this local archery organization, Vidushi. So so they can be, we can have some more competitions and so on. But we have very good archers, but they're accustomed to the, when you're shooting a booty or a laba, the real archery. But this one it has a different kind of bow.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they use internationally for the games.
Okay.
So that's the only thing they have to learn. But they're doing it.
Understood. But once we were in sports, what else is on the cards for the development of sports in the hinterland region?
Well, last year also when the minister and I went all into many villages in the hinterland, the outreach, we took Claude Bolton from the GFF, the technical director, so that he can get a first-hand look at the grounds and the level of play in the hinterland there, the different clubs, because you have all the villages play football, and there we have some talented footballers, but we don't get to see their talent here. They're not in the national teams.
That's right.
They need a lot of things. So what happened, he decided that they will have a football conference in Rukman, which they had, and also to license the different clubs, the different villages. So about 21 or even more are being licensed right now, and 4 youth coaches were selected to go around, coaching and seeing what's happening to promote the game.
Wow.
So that I want to take into Region 8 soon. I promised them that, so I'm going to do that. And I made a mistake and told Region 1 what I did, so they said, "What happened to us?" I said, "Of course I have you on the cards." So I will do that. Well, with regards to volleyball and so on, we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
But I like to do things in stages. I find that if you do everything one time, you end up with nothing much and nothing strong, not a strong foundation. So a couple of months with football, then I'll bring on the volleyball, and what I would like to introduce into the different high schools, the different secondary schools, is chess. A game of chess.
I'm going to ask you about that.
Yes. So you have one, Mr. Sharma is already there anytime at my request. So I would like to see that develop, and I think this will help our indigenous people so much.
That's true.
To think things through.
That's right.
Right. So I view this as something very necessary, and I will make sure that it happens.
I know, once we're on chess, I know that Guyana would have attended an international chess tournament last year in Norway, and their team would have placed. I believe coming out of that, you would have had 2 or 3 persons being appointed candidate masters based on their performance, which is one of the levels to becoming I believe it's the first level in becoming a grand master. I know they're also fielding another team this year. I believe they're headed to Azerbaijan.
Okay.
And in other words, we're seeing that the development of this of the sport, chess, it is widely believed or widely touted that it helps with the academic.
Yes, it does.
And I believe the introduction of that particular sport into the hinterland lays a different level of platform for the development, because persons sometimes hold the opinion or hold the view that, you know what, not much good comes out of the hinterland, but I don't believe that. Hinterland there's more to hinterland than sports. There is also the academic aspect of it.
Yeah. In Parmakatori right now, there is an agronomist, came back from Cuba. Very nice young lady. And Region 1, they're filled with academics. All the teachers in Santa Rosa, they're all highly qualified. They all have their degrees. And other communities from the different regions, Region 9 and so on, there are also like, lots of qualified people there. But what hinders them, what obstacles they suffer, is finance. Simple finance. I mean, it's not simple really. It's a terrible thing.
That's true.
But they want to come to the University of Guyana. One, where will they stay? Two, how will they get money every day, you know, to feed themselves if they have to pay their rent and so on? So it's a uphill battle for them to get a higher education. That is why right now we're looking for a consultant to design another dormitory, and that dormitory will be for GTI students and UG students. We haven't decided on what structure the system will take yet, but at least the building will go up and they know that they will have somewhere to stay. You know, when you tell them this, parents smile.
Yes.
And the youth smile because there's something now to work for. Because many of them, they have 9, 8, 7, 10 subjects.
Wow.
But nobody used to, hardly then, ask them to come out and go somewhere to the UG or so. When I was a parliamentarian, what I used to do is go to the Ministry of Public Service, and I used to talk to Jennifer there. She was minister there.
Yeah.
And one time I told her, you know, I need some scholarships. She said, all right. She said, they normally get scholarships. I said, I need more.
Mm-hmm.
She said, how much more? I said, 30. She said, well, we'll see. But indeed, I got some through, which was very good. One of them is in Cuba right now. And he had, I think, 10 subjects in Santa Rosa.
Wow.
So he went to the medical program. But what what also is a challenge is math. That's why this chess will be so very good.
That's right.
For them, you know, because they find math challenging, and sometimes they're hardly math teachers. That's the whole thing. So just as an aside here, but what I'm hoping to do is that very soon getting some of my young friends who left UG and will have time in August to let us form a little organization and call ourselves something, hinterland math tutors or whatever, you know, just to go up there for August to teach them math.
That's right.
Even for 1 month or 3 weeks or so. So it's very, very important. Very important, because many times if they want to become a nurse, a professional nurse,
That's true.
you have to have math.
That's true.
You have to have English.
That's true.
So you'd find these things stopping many of them. And where you find it, especially where the first language is an indigenous language.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in Region 8, you hear Patamono. They will talk English for you, but it's Patamono. Rupununi, Region 9, let's say in the Deep South, you hear Wapshan. They will speak English for you. Thing is Wapshan. Comfortable. And I have seen this thing, and I looked at it. Let's say, for instance, I was looking at the Haze group one time, teaching the facilitators, facilitating the youths. And she was speaking in English. And you find an expression, a serious kind of expression, considering expression, slightly, not too lost, I wouldn't say lost, but as soon as she burst into Patamono, Oh, you see instant understanding in the eyes, movement of the body, and reaction, positive reaction right away. So that language, there is a little, it's not a barrier, but it's just that, if teachers, if more indigenous languages can be taught, let's say just like how you choose to take Spanish.
That's right.
And Portuguese and French and German, we should have indigenous languages like that, so that you can decide that you want to learn Patamona or you want to learn Wapishana. So when you go into there, you could speak to them and they would understand you so well. They don't have to come back to the English. I mean, English is worldwide and they have to learn English, but when you want them to understand something, okay, this is a math problem and this is the formula.
That's right.
Maybe you could explain the formula in Wapishana or in Patamona and still arrive at the right answer, because they will understand it being explained in their language better.
That's true.
Right? So it's not that you're having Patamona matters or whatever.
That's true. But on that note, I believe that is why there is a program to sponsor hinterland children from the communities drawn, from across the hinterland, bring them out on the coast for secondary schooling. I believe there is such a plan when it comes to CPCE. There's a similar arrangement in place where they can be able to come out, pursue their teacher training program, and then return to the villages, so that they can at least, because they're familiar with the villages, they're drawn from the villages, they can now be able to give back into that community. Over the past year, what does the stats look like in that regard?
With regards to the teaching service, that is more or less Ministry of Education. But I can tell you a lot of hinterland teachers have been trained at CPCE, including my father. But he's from Region 1 Maruka. And I wouldn't say I'm ashamed to say, but I'm somewhat disturbed that Maruka people somehow, their culture, they haven't held on to it as strongly. Maybe because of the Spanish infiltration there.
Yes.
So you'd find most of them speaking Spanish. Well, long ago then.
Yes.
My father, as a matter of fact, his father is from Venezuela. So you'd find Spanish-speaking mixed people there, So the Arawak or the Warao, the ministry is helping to revive that, I'm happy to say, by investing in classes. So they're trying to revive the languages in the communities that have lost so much. But going back to the CPC program, it was there a long time, and it's always doing a very good job. But today, we need so many trained teachers in the hinterland. We don't have trained teachers in the hinterland, and some of them have families. They wouldn't want to come out for 2 years. A mother for 2 years leaving her children, she would want to walk with her whole family. Now when she walks with her whole family, where will they stay? So there are the challenges. So what I would like to see, I would like to see something like Skype. I call it a virtual classroom where you have a big screen and the different villages that have the teachers, need to go for this training, the teachers training, can have this big screen, and CPCE can tune them in at a certain time every afternoon, maybe at 5 o'clock for an hour for lessons twice a week or something like that, and they sit in front of the resource centers and any building and they learn there. You can have speaking, they can ask questions. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the revolutionary ICT program to come off. And as the president said, we're targeting schools first.
That's right.
So I'm very, very, very anxious and happy about that.
That's right. What does this look like for the high school students coming from the hinterland to attend, or students coming from the hinterland to attend high school on the coast?
Little children, that's the grade 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, so far, according to my stats here, I'm going to read there. We have 74 grade 6 attending various secondary schools in Georgetown, 28 technical students. They're attending GTI and the Guyana School of Agriculture and also Carnegie. So and also we help with little pocket allowance in the regions, another 28.
Wow.
That's those who have done well, and but not enough to make it, because you have to have 470 marks to come out here to go to school.
Wow, that's important. That's really something, Minister. At least, all in all, it says that government has not forgotten you.
No.
Government cares about you.
Of
You
course.
are Guyanese irrespective of where you are, and the drive continues.
Yeah, and as the president said, we don't have two nations. This is one nation. The hinterland is part of Guyana. It's not a country by itself. So everything that we get here in the coast must be made available to them.
That's true. You made mention in your opening remarks about the lifting the economic standard of the community. Can you be able to update us on that project that would fund women's groups?
Oh, the women's groups. Well, for 2016, actually, 2 women's groups were given funding. One for a poultry farm in Region 1, and in Region 8, they want to finish building their craft shop. So 2 so far, but 2017 budget is coming. But the women, we're working along with the Small Business Bureau in the Ministry of Business. So what I did was encourage the women to send in their proposals, and also we send them over to the Small Business Bureau for them to look at them and see which one is viable, which one can work. But at least, because those are grants.
That's right. That's right, Minister. Now, where agriculture is concerned, if you're to go to the hinterland, or if you're to just do a flyover, you realize that there is the advantage of vast land.
Mm-hmm.
One would say, arguably, that once they're organized by communities, once they're organized by regions,
Mm-hmm.
they can be able to have such strong agricultural products coming out. One, they can be able to add value to some of those products. So the consumption is there for the people locally. 2, adding value even for exportation.
Mm-hmm.
It also brings in a level of economy. Some money bottom line for the villages.
Of course.
Where are we with that?
Well, let me tell you about, recently with the Ministry of Business, we went on an outreach, and a farine factory in Mokomoko was being built, soon to be opened, and that is supposed to purchase the cassava from the people and produce farine to be sold locally and also to Brazil.
That's right.
So I see some dollars coming in there once it's well managed. The whole thing is to be well managed and disciplined, and I think the necessary training they would have gotten.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Yeah, but there's another project that our ministry is working on, and that is coming out of the Haze,
Yes.
like a little byproduct of the Haze Program. um, well, agriculture is part of the curriculum. So we were looking, I had called in earlier in the year Dr. Suresh Narayan and also Nari, because I know that if you want to do agriculture or value added of anything, you have to. We don't have those we don't have the expertise here, but the expertise are out there in Guyana. So we pulled in. I had a meeting with them, and Region 8 in the Paramakatoy Cato region, but Paramakatoy dealing with that village is so fertile. The soil is so fertile. So we were, just discussing, brainstorming what could possibly be grown there and how we can, we can make money out of this thing. How can the people make money out of this thing? Taking into the remoteness that you only can reach there through road for after, difficult terrain, or by the plane for 2 hours, which is pretty expensive both ways. So we came up with a growing tomatoes, the tomato project. And I think, was it February or March, Dr. Suresh and I flew into Paramakatoy, and we had a meeting, various meetings there, because we went to the different villages. And we told them about it. We got, so they looked at it, because that's one thing. I believe that if you're carrying in, you're doing something for people, you have to get their buy-in.
That's right.
It's their own, not your own. You can't go there and shove something on them. You can have an idea and put your idea to them. If they like it, well, then that's very good. So they liked it. They started discussing about the pros and cons and everything. And I'm happy to say that farmers signed up to plant tomatoes. Dr. Suresh Narayan got Nari to willingly produce the seedlings. And the agronomist herself there, this indigenous girl there, she started producing them there. So soon they will be handed over to the farmers, 100 seedlings each. And she will be with them, she's based there to teach them how to grow them, to nurture them, and to harvest them. So we were lucky to have somebody there. But then again, we can't bring out tomatoes to sell to Georgetown. Tomatoes cheap in Georgetown, and those are organic, no fertilizer. Guyanese wouldn't buy our organic tomato. So we decided that the North American and European market, they're always with this organic. So we decided, and Dr. Suresh came up with this idea about the dryer. Let us sun dry it there, and then compress it and ship it out here. When we reach here now, we'll train our indigenous people in Georgetown to make salad, to produce the salad dressing. So we have great plans with that, and we also met with the Canadian High Commission, who was very, very interested in it, and he gave us a few names, he will give us a few contacts and so on, and they themselves will also put in a bit of funding. So that is an idea I think will work. And coming out of that, the Haze youths, what we intend to do, that's only a start. And I know things don't run smooth. So we will have a little tumble here and there, but the thing is, we have to be persistent. We have to persevere. We got to believe in because it is a workable plan. So we plan to build a little training center there, where not only the Haze youth from Paramacatal will be trained to run the tomato business and everything, to look at the scientific side of it, but also we were looking at the yams grow wildly there, yams. So I was thinking about a yam soup mixture package, so you can pick it off the supermarket and go and just, make a little soup quickly, just like Maggi soup, how you just make it quickly. And it's very delicious, very healthy and tasty. So something like that. And Dr. Suresh was thinking about some essential oils also. So we're looking there now on a long-term basis of having like a little branch of IAST there, where the Region 8 youths can come from any village and train there to do agro-processing, produce one thing or the other, but they will be little, I like to say little scientists. I like to see them with their coat and their little...
That's right.
Yes, so I see in the long term, I see them going in the right direction towards development, because that links up with tourism. It links up with tourism. So it is a link. And you see, this is where the agriculture and the tourism and the value added and everything come. I see that as being very successful, but it would not be a smooth road. And this is what Dr. Narayan and we made sure that they understand that it will not be a smooth road. But this is something that has great potential.
Have to keep it.
Yes, and it's like, I think it would be a great model. And Minister Sydney's Bina Hill is a very nice institute also, more cultural. They're also training for vocational and so on.
Understood.
But that little thing, I'm very, very interested in it. And long term, talking about the long term, after that we put that on a little footing, which will be maybe in the next few months, not too long from now, because we have our proposal and so on, and it has to go to finance. It is at finance right now. Once finance, I have a meeting with Ms. Rupnath on Monday. I'm hoping to explain to her how this would work, so the youths can benefit, and not only the youths, the whole community will benefit. But now we're looking at the youth unemployment in hinterland, and this is where the youths can have jobs. They can have jobs, because you'll need people to process the tomatoes, to pick out the tomatoes, to make sure that every sun dry them, to look. All sorts of jobs they will have there, including how to get the right level of things. So they're training. They will be trained
so
to do that.
There's a linkage along the way.
Yeah, there is. And the lapidary, I have my lapidary project that I did mention in my budget speech. Well, that proposal is being worked on right now, and I see that as another long term. Several years of it, and I see in my mind indigenous youths till they grow old, till they can work, they have to retire now. But I see them creating beautiful jewelry from the different semi-precious stones. So I approached GGMC to ask if they can give them some training in gold and diamond making, because a lot of people like the semi-precious stone to have a little linkage of either silver or gold to add more attraction to it and so on.
That's true.
But unfortunately, I don't know what happened with their equipment they had there, but they don't do that anymore. So I told Minister Dominic today that we'll be talking, because he's a jeweler. He has to advise me how to go how to go about this. But the main thing is Monkey Mountain and Tucson in between there, and even Cato. Lots of semi-precious stones.
Wow.
Beautiful semi-precious stones.
Wow.
When we went there, we took up a person who's very versed in this. And when she got done telling us the history, showing us the lines and so on, look, all of us came back to Monkey Mountain, our pockets filled and couldn't hold enough. Some big ones. So we were all so interested in stones after that.
That's right.
So that could be an industry for export also, because this is where the ICT come in again. Once you put it there, you get a lovely website and you take orders, you ship it, you package it wonderfully, beautifully, and you ship it out. You can buy, you can order from Georgetown, or you can order from Barbados, Trinidad, wherever.
That's right.
So I see our youths, you know, really being employed. I see income coming into the communities from this little business. So that's another one.
It's definitely about taking advantage of what's on the ground.
Right, that is what I mentioned many times, that as Indigenous people, and I said that when I launched in K2 Haze the other day, 2 weeks ago, that, you know, you live here, the mountains and the hills and the creeks and the falls, you're accustomed to seeing them. Sometimes you see their beauty, you love them, but you tell yourself that you're poor, you live in beauty, but the beauty isn't giving you anything. So you're not so happy. You would be happy when you're poor. Anyway, but the thing is, you look at Georgetown and you feel this is where you can get money. You can earn money. You want to go to Georgetown. I said, but you feel Georgetown is blessed, or the coast, or where we're blessed around here, and you're not blessed there. I said, but God doesn't leave His children without. This is your blessing. This is what you have to utilize to earn. And okay, so you may have an idea, you don't know how to carry it out, you need to elaborate on that idea, you need help. So we will help you. We will help you to utilize what you have here to earn money. So that is the whole thing.
That's what it is about.
Yeah.
That's so true, Minister.
Yeah.
Can you give me an update, please, on the Haze program?
The Haze program. Well, as I said before, the Haze program was launched in October. Last year, October, in 3 villages. Paramakatoy, Mountain Foot, and Bamboo Creek. And in December, Monkey Mountain, Turuka, and Tucson. So in Region 8, for 2015, there wasn't a budget per se for the Haze, only some money for youth initiative. So what we did was use that money to launch the Haze. And for the 2016 budget, of course, we catered for Haze, and $977 million was approved for this project. I'm happy to say that was the biggest project for this ministry, and it caters for 2,000 youths being let's say, educated in maths and English, but of course it's a concentrated learning experience, which is very basic. And after that, they're finished with the basic. Then they can, who wants to study for CXC, and CXC maths and English, we will train them for that. That is why the facilitators that are being employed for the program in the villages, 2 of them are academics, like retired trained teachers, or maybe a youth who did well in math and English, like we are accepting grade 3. grade 1, 2, or 3. So that program is being launched right now.
So when I look at it, I see a holistic approach being taken.
Entrepreneurship studies.
Look at that.
Because what we notice is that many times investments were being made, even by the previous government, into the villages. But because of lack of managerial skills, lack of entrepreneurship training, many things you don't see now. It's an investment that just went away. So yes, so we're planning for better then. We're planning for better. That if it's a village shop you want to run, you have to know how to keep your books. You have to know what to touch and what not to touch when you not to touch your profit, how much of your profit you want to reinvest and things like that. And making sure that they get the right training. Ecotourism, they will have actual cases because they will, or like when you go to Cato, the guest house there, the original guest house, lacks so many basic things. When you go in the room, there's not even a mat or
wow.
And things like that. The windows are dirty. Like my person who went with me, she had to clean the kitchen before she attempted to cook and things like that. So and you have a caretaker. So these are things that we will train them.